By the 7th century, major world empires had lost the concept of a single creator. In Rome, Persia, and beyond, civilizations had turned to the worship of fire, emperors, and diverse pantheons of physical gods. The Arabian Peninsula was no different. Isolated by vast, unforgiving deserts, the region had forgotten the ancient teachings of a single, unseen God. This shift was most visible in Mecca. The sanctuary there, the Kaaba, housed exactly 360 physical idols. These figures were the foundation of Mecca's religious and economic life, drawing trade and travelers from across the continent. Human logic had struggled to grasp a limitless being, resulting in the divine being fractured into thousands of physical, tradable objects. Reversing this required an entirely new way of defining the relationship between the human and the divine. That change began with the message of Tawhid, the belief in a single, indivisible God. This idea posed a direct threat to the Quraysh, the ruling class of Mecca, as it invalidated the idols that powered their economy. The Quraysh responded with violence. Early followers faced severe torture. Men like Bilal were pinned under boulders on burning sand, while others were dragged over hot coals to force them back into idol worship. When physical force failed to break the believers' convictions, the Meccan elite shifted their strategy. They moved away from violence and toward intellectual traps designed to expose the Prophet's message as illogical. The ruling class realized they were fighting an idea they could neither physically hold nor control. Their goal was to force a description of this unseen God that would prove self-contradictory. To execute this, an unlikely alliance formed. Meccan pagans, local Jewish tribes, and Christians united to interrogate the Prophet with specific questions about the nature of his creator. The pagans, rooted in a materialistic worldview, demanded to know the physical composition of this God. They asked if he was forged from gold, silver, or copper. The Jewish tribes focused on lineage. They demanded to see the Creator's family tree and ancestry to understand how he inherited his authority. The Christian groups applied a biological framework to the divine, asking if the Creator had a son or a literal heir to his throne. By layering these three distinct demands, the coalition created a logical bind. Any answer the Prophet gave to satisfy the material requirements of one group would likely contradict the theological requirements of the others. Faced with these hostile questions, the Prophet Muhammad remained silent. He offered no immediate defense or explanation from his own human intellect. As the silence continued, the coalition's confidence grew. The interrogators began to mock him, believing they had finally found a conceptual limit he could not answer. Their questions, however, contained a shared error. They were attempting to define a limitless creator using the biological and physical limitations of the created world, concepts like metals, genealogy, and the passage of time. Human reasoning could not bridge this gap. For the paradox to be resolved, the definition of the divine had to come from the divine itself. The silence ended with the revelation of Surah Al-Ikhlas, the chapter of sincerity. It provided 4 defining statements. The first verse, say, "He is Allah, one," dismantled the pagan system by rejecting the idea that divinity could be divided. The second verse, Allah, the eternal refuge, addressed the notion of a God who requires physical sustenance. The third verse states, "He neither begets nor is born," countering the Jewish demand for ancestry and the Christian claim of a divine son. The final verse, "Nor is there to him any equivalent," addressed the material trap. It established that the Creator exists outside of physical reality, making any comparison to gold or silver impossible. In just 4 sentences, the revelation provided a comprehensive response that neutralized 3 distinct theological attacks simultaneously. The Meccan coalition was left speechless. Despite their hostility, they found no logical flaw or linguistic opening in the response. This chapter's impact was so significant that the Prophet Muhammad described it as being equal in weight to 1/3 of the entire Quran. While these words are often recited quickly today, 14 centuries ago, they served as a manifesto. These 4 verses established a clear boundary between the Creator and the created, providing a definition of God that has remained unchanged.